Katie is kind of the comeback story of Olympian boxer Katie Taylor, gold medal winner in London, who then went on to lose her title in Rio. And there are a lot of background reasons for that. So the film kind of explores those reasons and then kind of witnesses her comeback and helps people get to know her a bit better. It's quite an unfolding drama, an exciting film, I think, and you're very much kind of in Katie's pocket throughout it, fly on the wall, and you get to get to know her and also to see her story unfold. The project came together because Katie and I share a friend called Brian Peters, who turned out to be Katie's manager, and he and I and then Katie started having this conversation when she decided to go pro about covering the pro journey, whether or not that would be a good idea to do. And it was actually a very brave thing for Katie to do because she was at her lowest point in her career. The last fight she had was losing in Rio. She'd essentially had a terrible 2016 and all sorts of problems in her life. So it was a brave decision for her to make, but we kind of hit it off pretty quickly. And I think she trusted me, and we trusted each other to tell a good story. So that's kind of how it all began. I think one of the biggest challenges of the film, it's a challenge, but it's also kind of an opportunity, hopefully not speaking in kind of marketing speak, but the challenge with Katie, I suppose, is that she's quite a quiet person. And when people talk about characters, they often think of a character being larger than life. And Katie is incredibly charismatic, but she's also quiet, shy, introverted. So one of the things I didn't want to do was to try and turn Katie into a character of that sort. So it was important for me to kind of just show her for who she was and witness her and try and get some of that quiet charisma across, and for people to get to know her more by witnessing and spending time with her and seeing her act rather than seeing her talk. So that was kind of a challenge, but it also, I suppose, hopefully it makes the film kind of unique and interesting, that you're not enforcing kind of a heavy amount of interviews on the subject. You're trying to more so see the story unfold. Yeah, I suppose one of the biggest influences would be a filmmaker called Kim Longinotto. She's to me like a master of observational storytelling for two reasons. One, she films it herself and she films very, very well, but also she manages to kind of collect scenes. So scenes that unfold one by one, each scene feeling like it's the natural one to follow the previous scene, each scene being important to the story, not just being observational for observational sake. So to me, I love that because that's what, to me, like that's the basis of drama, is you're wondering what's going to happen next. And I try and do that when I'm filming, is to always think about how the story is unfolding and how, what the next scene should be to keep that drama going. I've revisited a few subjects, actually. In some ways, it's not great to repeat yourself more than once. I think people say don't repeat yourself. I sort of think don't repeat yourself twice. Sometimes it is interesting, and as a documentary maker, you're building your own archive on that subject material, so that can be kind of an interesting thing to draw on, and it just gives you more of that person's life unfolding. And I think with Katie, it's probably something I will be interested in going back to at a later date, because her career will continue, and it's only going to get more interesting, actually. I'm hoping a wider audience will see it. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the reaction we've had so far has been incredible. Like, people are responding to Katie so well that they feel like they didn't know her and now they're getting to know her. They're also responding to the story well, because even though Katie's kind of almost like consistently in our media, I don't know the depth to which we consume what she's doing. So I think people are realizing that they don't know her story even as well as they thought they did. So people are responding amazingly to the film, and I just hope that means that it will get to a wide audience, and those people that see it will tell their friends, and so on and so on. What's next for me? Well, I'm doing a few things, I suppose. As a documentary maker, you can never really afford to only be working on one thing. So we're developing a few different things. That's what kind of like colleagues like my producer Aideen O'Sullivan, and I'm working on a project with John Kelleher, which is kind of, to describe it as quickly as possible, would be to say that it's kind of going back to the characters that were the inspiration for Eat the Peach, who have kind of decided to rekindle that interest in the Wall of Death in their 60s. So that's the basis of it, but it's kind of a lot more to it than that. I think for Katie, they're going to see a really exciting, visceral, emotional film that kind of really punches you in the gut, but ultimately kind of is quite exciting to watch because it really does unfold at a good pace. I think Katie does really visit her emotional depths, as do the rest of her family. So you're probably going to cry and she's quite funny, so you're probably going to laugh a few times, and then I think by the end of it you'll have a huge kind of admiration for who she is, but also you'll have seen a good film.